The Desperate Call. The morning shift on Mining Station Harmony 7 had started like any other in the past 3 cycles. Commander Lyra Vex reviewed the daily extraction reports while sipping her morning Nala tea, watching the twin suns of Kepler 442 cast their golden light across the asteroid field. The Zephyrian colonies in this system had been peaceful for over 2 decades, their mining operations providing rare metals to dozens of civilized worlds across the galaxy. That peace shattered when the proximity alarms began screaming across every deck of the station. "Commander Vex to the bridge immediately," came the urgent call from her sensor operator. Lyra dropped her teacup and rushed through the corridors, her heart racing. The Zephyrian people were known throughout the galaxy for their calm nature and scientific minds, but the fear in her crew's voices told her something terrible was happening. On the bridge, chaos greeted her. Her sensor operator, Lieutenant Zara, turned with wide eyes full of terror. "Commander, we have 43 unknown vessels dropping out of hyperspace around the system perimeter. Their energy signatures are massive, and they're moving in attack formation." Lyra felt her blood turn cold. The peaceful mining colonies had no military defenses beyond basic shield generators and asteroid deflection systems. They were scientists, engineers, and miners, not warriors. She activated the long-range scanners and watched in horror as the hostile fleet arranged itself in a perfect hunting pattern around their system. The lead ship was enormous, nearly 3 times the size of their largest mining vessel. Its black hull seemed to absorb the starlight, and weapon ports lined its surface like the eyes of some ancient predator. This was not a random pirate raid. This was an organized military assault. "Open channels to all colonies," Lyra ordered, her voice steady despite the fear growing in her chest. "Emergency evacuation protocols are now in effect. All civilian vessels are to begin immediate departure procedures." Before her communications officer could respond, the enemy fleet opened fire. Lance beams of pure energy struck the outer mining platforms, vaporizing them instantly. Thousands of Zephyrian lives ended in brilliant flashes of light. The attack was not aimed at capturing resources or taking prisoners. This was extermination. "Incoming transmission from the lead enemy vessel," her communications officer reported, his hands shaking as he worked the controls. "Put it through," Lyra commanded, though every instinct told her she would not like what she heard. The face that appeared on the main screen belonged to no species she recognized. The creature had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, with skin that seemed to shift between different shades of gray. When it spoke, its voice carried the sound of grinding metal. "I am Warlord Krex of the Void Hunter Fleet. Your system has been marked for cleansing. Your species is weak and takes up space that stronger beings require. You have 1 standard galactic hour to transmit the locations of all your colonies and mining operations. Those who comply will die quickly. Those who resist will suffer before they die." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Lyra had heard whispers of the Void Hunters in the darker corners of galactic news networks. They were a nomadic species that traveled from system to system, destroying civilizations they deemed unworthy and claiming their resources. Most governments dismissed them as legend or exaggerated rumor. Now Lyra knew the terrible truth. "How many civilian vessels can we evacuate in an hour?" she asked her logistics officer. Dr. Niam Koss, the station's chief scientist and evacuation coordinator, ran the numbers quickly. "Maybe 30% of our population, Commander. The cargo ships were not designed for passenger transport, and our evacuation pods can only carry small numbers. 70% of their people would die." Lyra closed her eyes and tried to think. The Zephyrian colonies had always relied on their peaceful reputation and the protection of the Galactic Defense Coalition. But the nearest coalition fleet was weeks away, and even if they received word of the attack, bureaucratic procedures would delay any response for days. "Send out a general distress call on all emergency frequencies," she ordered. "Include our location, the enemy force size, and civilian population numbers. Maybe someone closer will respond." As the distress signal went out across the galaxy, Lyra watched more mining platforms explode under the Void Hunter bombardment. Each flash of light represented hundreds of lives lost, families destroyed, dreams ended. The enemy was not just killing them, they were making a show of it, demonstrating their power to terrorize any survivors. The emergency channel crackled with responses. Most were automated acknowledgments from distant monitoring stations. A few trading vessels in nearby systems expressed sympathy, but explained they were too far away or too lightly armed to help. The Galactic Defense Coalition confirmed receipt of the message and estimated a response time of 6 standard days. 6 days. They had less than 1 hour. "Commander," her communications officer called out suddenly, excitement in his voice. "We're receiving a response to our distress call. It's from a human vessel." Lyra felt a chill run down her spine. Humans were known throughout the galaxy, but not in positive ways. They came from a world so dangerous that other species called it a death world. The few diplomatic contacts between humans and other species had been tense and limited. Most civilized worlds considered humans to be barely controlled savages, useful for dangerous work, but too unpredictable for normal society. "Put the transmission throughs," she said, though she wondered if accepting help from humans might be worse than facing the Void Hunters. The face that appeared on screen was weathered and scarred, with the distinctive features of a human who had seen many battles. Steel-gray eyes looked directly at her with an intensity that made Lyra feel as if this human could see into her soul. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth ship Prometheus. We received your distress call, Commander Vex. We are currently 3 light hours from your position with a full battle group. We can reach you in 97 minutes. Lyra's heart sank. Even if the humans were willing to help, they would arrive long after the Void Hunters had completed their slaughter. "Admiral Chen, we appreciate your offer of assistance, but the enemy has given us only 1 hour. By the time your ships arrive, my people will be dead." Something changed in the human's expression. The steel in her eyes became harder, more focused. "Commander, how many enemy vessels are you facing?" 43 combat ships, including 1 massive command vessel. Our estimates suggest they have overwhelming firepower advantage. Admiral Chen was quiet for a moment, and Lyra could see her consulting with other humans off-screen. When she turned back, her voice carried a tone that Lyra had never heard before, absolute, unshakable determination. "Commander Vex, we are not most species. We are bringing 18 ships to this fight, and we will arrive in 42 minutes. I need you to keep your people alive until then. Can you do that?" 18 ships against 43. The mathematics were impossible. Even if the human ships were more advanced than Zephyrian mining vessels, they would be outnumbered more than 2 to 1 by an enemy that had already demonstrated overwhelming firepower. But something in Admiral Chen's voice made Lyra believe. Perhaps it was as desperation, or perhaps it was the first time in her life she had encountered someone who spoke with such absolute confidence in the face of impossible odds. "We will try, Admiral. Our civilian evacuation is ongoing, but we can only save a fraction of our people." "Then save who you can, Commander, and tell your evacuation ships to head for these coordinates." Data flowed across the screen, showing positions well outside the system. "We will establish a safe zone there after we deal with the Void Hunters." After we deal with the Void Hunters. Not if. After. The human spoke, as if the outcome of a battle against impossible odds was already decided. Lyra found herself believing it might be possible. "All stations, this is Commander Vex," she announced across the colony networks. "Human reinforcements are inbound. Continue evacuation procedures and maintain hope. Help is coming." As she watched the Void Hunter fleet begin moving closer to the inner colonies, beginning the final phase of their assault, Lyra wondered what kind of species could speak with such certainty about facing overwhelming enemy forces. She was about to learn why humans were called Deathworlders. In the depths of space, Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Prometheus, watching her tactical displays as 18 human warships prepared to drop out of hyperspace into the middle of the largest battle any of them had ever faced. All ships report ready, Admiral, her tactical officer, Captain Jake Morrison, announced. Fleet is standing by for combat deployment. Sarah looked at the numbers one more time. 43 enemy vessels against 18 of theirs. In the old days, before humanity had learned to reach for the stars, such odds would have been called suicide. But humans had not survived on a death world by accepting defeat. They had survived by learning that sometimes the only way to win was to fight harder than anyone thought possible. Captain Morrison, signal all ships. We are not here to engage in a fair fight. We are here to save innocent lives and destroy every single enemy vessel. No survivors, no retreat, no quarter given. The bridge crew exchanged glances. They all knew what those orders meant. This would not be a typical space engagement with rules and protocols. This would be human warfare unleashed in space for the first time. Aye, Admiral. All ships acknowledge. We are ready to show the galaxy what Deathworlders can do. The Prometheus and its escorts prepared to drop from hyperspace. In 41 minutes, the Void Hunters would learn why no predator had ever successfully hunted humans on their home world. The lesson would be final and absolute. When Deathworlders strike, the human fleet materialized in the Kepler 442 system like ghosts becoming solid. One moment, the space near the outer asteroid belt was empty. The next moment, 18 warships hung in the void, their weapon systems already charging and their engines burning at full power. Commander Lyra Vex watched from the bridge of Harmony 7 as the human vessels emerged from hyperspace in a formation she had never seen before. Instead of the traditional battle lines used by most galactic species, the human ships scattered immediately into what appeared to be chaos. Within seconds, they were moving in seemingly random directions at speeds that made her sensor operators doubt their instruments. "Impossible," breathed her tactical officer. "Those acceleration readings cannot be accurate. No organic crew could survive those G-forces." But Admiral Chen's voice came through the communication system as calm and steady as if she were discussing the weather. "Commander Vex, this is Prometheus. We have visual on the enemy fleet. Beginning engagement now. Keep your people down and continue evacuation procedures." Warlord Krex received the first reports of human arrival with amusement rather than concern. 18 small vessels against his 43. Ship armada was not a battle. It was target practice. He had destroyed entire civilizations with smaller fleets than what he commanded today. "These humans think they can challenge the Void Hunters?" he growled to his tactical coordinator. "Show them why we are feared across the galaxy. Destroy them quickly, then return to cleansing these mining colonies." The lead Void Hunter vessels turned to engage the human fleet, their massive energy weapons powering up for what their commanders assumed would be a brief and one-sided slaughter. They had faced many species in their campaigns across the galaxy, and all had fallen before their superior numbers and firepower. What happened next changed everything. The human ship designated UES Valiant was the first to engage. Instead of maintaining safe distance and exchanging long-range fire like civilized species, the Valiant accelerated directly toward the center of the Void Hunter formation at a speed that should have torn the ship apart. At the last possible moment, it executed a maneuver that defied physics, spinning along 3 axes while simultaneously firing every weapon it carried. The first Void Hunter destroyer exploded before its crew understood what had attacked them. The Valiant was already gone, appearing 3,000 kilometers away and engaging a second target before the debris from the first had finished expanding. "What are they doing?" Warlord Krex demanded, staring at tactical displays that showed impossible movement patterns. "How can they change direction so quickly? How can their crews survive those accelerations?" His tactical coordinator was studying sensor readings with growing alarm. "Sir, their ships appear to be equipped with inertial compensation systems far beyond anything we have encountered. But more importantly, their tactics make no sense. They are attacking as if they expect to win." Indeed, the human ships were not fighting like an outnumbered force trying to delay inevitable defeat. They were fighting like predators who had chosen their prey and would not stop until every enemy was destroyed. The 18 human vessels moved through the Void Hunter formation like a pack of hunting wolves, each one coordinating with the others in patterns too complex for their enemies to predict or counter. The UES Prometheus, Admiral Chen's flagship, demonstrated why humans were called Deathworlders. When 3 Void Hunter heavy cruisers attempted to surround it, the Prometheus did not retreat or call for support. Instead, it accelerated directly toward the largest enemy vessel, firing continuously while performing evasive maneuvers that would have killed any non-human crew. The Prometheus passed within 500 meters of the Void Hunter cruiser's hull, close enough that collisions seemed inevitable. At that range, the human ship's weapons tore through enemy shields like paper and punched holes completely through the massive vessel. The Void Hunter cruiser was dead in space within 30 seconds, its crew never having landed a single shot on their attacker. Commander Lyra watched in stunned silence as the battle unfolded around her system. She had expected the humans to fight bravely before being overwhelmed. Instead, she was witnessing a systematic destruction of the Void Hunter fleet by an enemy they had catastrophically underestimated. "Dr. Koss," she called to her chief scientist, who was monitoring the engagement from his evacuation coordination post. "Are you recording this battle?" "Every second, Commander. The galactic scientific community will need to study these tactics for decades to understand what we are witnessing." The tide of battle turned completely when the human ships began working in coordinated groups. 3 vessels would engage a Void Hunter target from different angles simultaneously, their movements synchronized with computer precision. While the enemy tried to track one attacker, the other 2 would destroy critical systems with surgical strikes. Warlord Krex watched his fleet being systematically dismantled and felt something he had not experienced in decades of conquest: fear. These humans were not fighting like any species he had encountered. They showed no concern for odds, no hesitation in the face of superior numbers, and no mercy for defeated enemies. "All ships, concentrate fire on a single human vessel," he ordered desperately. "If we can destroy even one of them, we can break their formation." 8 Void Hunter ships focused their combined firepower on the UES Defiant, Captain Rodriguez commanding. The volume of energy weapons fire would have vaporized most vessels instantly. But the Defiant did something no Void Hunter commander thought possible. It flew directly through the barrage, taking hits that should have destroyed it while continuing to engage enemy targets. The human ship's armor absorbed damage that would have crippled other vessels, while its crew continued fighting as if being shot at by 8 enemies simultaneously was a normal Tuesday. Within minutes, 3 of the attacking Void Hunter vessels were disabled, and the Defiant was moving to engage fresh targets. "This is impossible," Warlord Krex whispered, staring at displays that showed his proud fleet being reduced to expanding clouds of debris. "No species fights like this. No species can withstand this level of damage and continue attacking." His tactical coordinator's voice was hollow with disbelief. "Sir, we have lost 26 vessels. The humans have lost none. Their smallest ships are outfighting our heavy cruisers." That was when Admiral Chen opened a communication channel to the remaining Void Hunter fleet. Her image appeared on Krex's command screen, and he saw something in her eyes that made his 4 hearts skip beats. This human was not tired, not stressed, not even breathing hard. She looked like someone who was just getting started. "Warlord Krex, this is Admiral Chen. You threatened to kill innocent civilians. You attacked peaceful colonies without provocation. You gave them 1 hour to live." Her voice was calm, almost conversational. "We are giving you 30 seconds to surrender, or we will finish what you started." Krex's pride would not let him surrender to creatures he had thought were barely civilized savages. "We are Void Hunters. We do not surrender to lesser species." Admiral Chen's expression did not change. "Then you will die like the predators you are. All human ships, weapons free. No survivors." The final phase of the battle lasted 11 minutes. When it ended, 43 Void Hunter vessels had been reduced to floating wreckage and expanding gas clouds. 18 human ships hung in space around the Kepler 442 system, their crews already beginning rescue operations to save any Zephyrian civilians who might be trapped in damaged facilities. Commander Lyra Vex sat in stunned silence on her bridge, trying to process what she had witnessed. The most feared predator fleet in the galaxy had been utterly destroyed by human forces that had been outnumbered more than 2 to 1. It was not just victory, it was annihilation so complete that her species would question whether the Void Hunters had ever truly existed. "Commander," her communications officer said quietly, "we are receiving priority transmissions from 17 different galactic governments requesting detailed battle recordings. The Galactic Defense Coalition wants immediate debriefs on human tactical capabilities." News of the battle spread across the galaxy at light speed, carried by automatic message buoys and emergency channels. Within hours, every major government and military organization in civilized space was analyzing footage of human ships performing maneuvers that defied current understanding of physics and tactics that had never been seen in galactic warfare. On the crystalline homeworld of Altara, the Defense Council watched battle recordings in stunned silence. "These humans," whispered Defense Coordinator Vrel, "they do not fight like any species we have catalogued. They fight as if defeat is not possible." In the great libraries of Centauri Prime, military historians began urgent research into human evolutionary history. What they found terrified them. Earth was not just a dangerous world, it was a planet where only the most adaptable and ruthless species could survive. Humanity had spent millions of years being hunted by predators, surviving natural disasters, and fighting wars that would have extinguished other civilizations. The Galactic Council called an emergency session to discuss the implications of human military capabilities. Representative after representative stood to address the same terrifying question. If humans could destroy the Void Hunter fleet so easily, what could they do to civilized worlds if they chose to become conquerors themselves? But Admiral Chen's final transmission of the day provided the answer the galaxy needed to hear. Speaking to Commander Vex from the bridge of the Prometheus, surrounded by her crew who had just won the most decisive naval victory in recent galactic history, she made humanity's intentions clear. "Commander, your people are safe. We will remain in system until Galactic Defense Coalition vessels arrive to provide ongoing security. As for the Void Hunters, they will not threaten anyone ever again." She paused, looking directly at the camera that was transmitting her words to monitoring stations across the galaxy. "Let this be understood by every species, every government, and every potential aggressor in the galaxy. Humans do not start wars, but when innocent people call for help, we will answer. And when we arrive, we do not negotiate with predators, we eliminate them." The transmission ended, leaving the galaxy to contemplate a new reality. The species they had dismissed as dangerous savages had just demonstrated why they were the apex predators of their world. More importantly, they had shown that their greatest strength was not their technology or their tactics, but their absolute refusal to allow innocent people to suffer when they had the power to stop it. Commander Lyra Vex stood on the observation deck of Harmony 7, looking out at the human fleet that had saved her people. Dr. Koss joined her, holding a datapad containing casualty reports. "Final numbers, Commander. We lost 42% of our population in the initial attacks, but the remaining 58% survived because the humans arrived when they said they would and did exactly what they promised to do." Lyra nodded, still trying to understand what she had witnessed. "Doctor, in all our scientific studies of galactic species, did we ever encounter anything like this?" Dr. Koss was quiet for a long moment, watching human rescue shuttles moving between damaged mining platforms, pulling survivors from wreckage with the same efficiency they had shown in destroying enemies. "No, Commander. We have encountered many predator species and many technological civilizations, but we have never encountered a species that combines the hunting instincts of an apex predator with the moral conviction to protect strangers at the risk of their own lives. The humans are unique in the galaxy." As the twin suns of Kepler 442 set behind the asteroid field, casting long shadows across the debris of the Void Hunter fleet. The galaxy began to understand what it meant when someone called for help, and the Deathworlders answered.